From Paso Tiempo to Pebble Beach, Red Hot News Talk, AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz.
Listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hi, Dave Michaels. I'm here with Jack Stein. How are you doing, Jack? Can we get a mic check?
Hi, I'm doing well today.
All right. I am excited, dude, because today we have a special guest. Our guest is a teacher here or a professor locally, and the subject that he specializes in is fascinating, and I've been wanting to get on him on the show, and we finally got him. We have joining us Irvin Lemus. Did I say that right? Irvin Lemus. Okay. Did I get your mic on? Oh, you know what? Try one of those mics. Yeah, there you go. All right. You might have to change your headphones too.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Okay, so Irvin Lemus, now tell us, you are a professor at Cabrillo? Yes?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what do you teach?
I teach cybersecurity.
What does that mean?
It means the safety and security of computers, networks, and everything technology, really.
Mm-hmm. And so today we're going to talk all kinds of things, but one of the first things you wanted to mention that this month is the month to talk about this, right? This is Cybersecurity Month?
Yes, this is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Okay, and that means?
It's launched by the National Cybersecurity Alliance and the Department of Homeland Security since 2004.
Oh, okay.
It makes October the month where people like myself go out to the community and we raise awareness about cybersecurity topics, how people can secure their cell phones, their computers, their really an overall cyber hygiene that should go throughout the year. But, just like with anything, we have a month where we really focus on getting the word out.
Cyber hygiene. That is so great. Did you have all these terms which are great? You have windows like ports and holes and doors and cyber hygiene. These terms are fantastic. Are we going to answer questions from the audience today later on?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's cyber... Can you say this again? What month is it?
Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Okay. Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Okay.
So as part of the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, the National Cybersecurity Alliance and the Department of Homeland Security create topics to discuss every week. The first topic is make your home a haven for online safety. So it covers basic things like locking down your login. Passwords are known to be insecure. They have been proven time and time again that using passwords alone is not enough.
But what if I make it something like @supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? That would be hard to hack,
Dave,
right?
how did you know my password?
Well, there you go. I guess nothing is secure, right?
No, because a lot of people spend lots of time going through and creating every possible
Are these people
password.
doing this or bots?
People let computers do that work. So something that is created is something called a rainbow table, which is every possible combination for everything. For example, everything characters 1 through 7. Mm-hmm. So if you make a password of 1 through 7 characters, there's already a table that has that password in it and every possible combination. So all you do is you take the password that's in some encrypted form that looks unreadable to humans. You give it to the computer and you say, find me a match. And it will take the time, go through the table for you, find that match, and then let you know, oh, this is the password. Done.
Why would somebody want to do that, Irvin? Why would somebody want to do that?
Well, for example, if I'm working with a company, an organization, and they want to make sure that they are secure, mm-hmm. Something that I would test is their passwords. Are they using passwords that are longer than 8 characters? Are they using two-factor authentication?
What does that mean, two-factor authentication?
Two-factor authentication is you're using more than just a password to verify you are who you are to whatever you're logging into.
Is that like a password and your thumbprint on your smartphone?
It could be that.
Okay.
It could also be a little USB key that you have to push in order to verify. Okay. It can also be, for example, in Android, there's the Google Authenticator app, which creates a 6-digit code that you enter your password, and then the website like Amazon or PayPal will say, hey, please give me that code. It constantly regenerates. So every minute or so, it creates a new set of codes. The service that you're logging into and your phone have the same algorithm together. So they're creating the same code together. You type that code in, you're verified by 2 ways or 2 factors.
Okay. That's dual identification, or what did you call that?
Two-factor authentication.
I should write. Oh, man, I'm terrible at this stuff. Good thing you're here, though, because that's what your job is, right? And your job is to teach this stuff.
Yes.
At Cabrillo.
Yes.
Tell us about how we enroll in some of these courses.
Cabrillo.edu is the website to go to.
Okay.
I'm going to the website right now.
Okay.
There's a registration. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th item in the top bar, and it has the dates and the deadlines, the fees, the forms, everything you need to sign up for classes.
Okay, and it is Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
All right, good. Okay, so where should we start first? Let's start off here. How many devices should I have that kind of protection on? I know my smartphone, obviously. My computer at home?
Yes.
My cable box? I mean, where does it stop? My Google Home unit? My Alexa unit?
Everything. I mean, when you lock your house, you lock every door and window so that no one gets in. In the same way, you should lock down every device that you have on your network, whether that's your wireless device, your router, your Nest device, your thermostat, your smart toaster if you have one, your cell phones to your computers.
Does every house have a router?
Yes. If you're going on the internet, yes.
Where is that? I mean, for people who have no idea where. So I have 2 things coming out of my wall. One of them is a router, and the other is some other thing, and I don't know what it is, dude. I don't know. Maybe
so there's normally a box of very different shapes and sizes that your internet service provider gives you, and that acts as both your modem, your modular demodulator, and your router. So when that device is responsible for communicating with your internet service provider's network in whatever form that is it DSL, cable, fiber, whatever, and your house and the rest and all your equipment.
And so there's actually a physical box that all this stuff comes through first, right? And then it gets distributed to my equipment. What's the simplest thing I can do to make sure my house is secure? Does it start there? Do I make sure there's a firewall there or some kind of protection there?
With the router, change the password. A lot of people just let the internet service provider dictate whatever username and password is already set, and a lot of the times it's something as simple as admin, and nobody goes back to change it. There was actually a malware that came out earlier this year that affected 500,000 Netgear products because nobody changed the password to them, so they became vulnerable to malicious actors who started installing malicious code within those devices and created a botnet through the routers. The scary thing about that is, again, most people don't look and check their routers, so nobody knew it was happening until security analysts started looking at these devices and going, why is this doing something that it shouldn't? And then raise that awareness.
Okay, so first thing we should do is to reset our passwords, right? Or is that the passwords even to my banking, to my router, my cell phone even?
Yeah, make sure that your passwords are longer than 8 characters, that use uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols. And again, longer passwords are better. It's not foolproof, but it is better. Because the longer the password is, the harder it is to reverse.
I don't like that. You know, you were telling me about DuckDuckGo versus Google, and I was telling you Google just kind of flows like water right off my fingertips. DuckDuckGo. I can't even say it. It doesn't even flow off my tongue, let alone off my fingertips. I don't like that.
Yeah, something that I teach my fundamentals of computer security class at the very beginning is the higher something is secure, the less convenient it is. And vice versa. The more convenient something is, the less secure it becomes.
If they get into my router, is that the same thing as me saying, hey, Irvin, look, here's my computer, here's my passwords, and go at it?
If your router is insecure, then that's the equivalent of your gate and your front door are wide open.
You would still have to do some detective snooping, though, to get into my account.
It makes life easier. As a malicious person, it makes life easier. because you have the front door open and the gate open. So I can pretty much just, with my eyes, see in and start to
look for those passwords and to look for that kind of stuff. 479-1080 if you have any questions for our guest, Irvin Lemus. He is an instructor at Cabrillo College, and it is October Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Okay, we're talking cyber hygiene. You need to wash yourself? Is that what that means?
Well, basically.
Take a bath
in
every
a
day?
in a digital sense.
In a digital sense, what does that mean?
So just like we talked about passwords, making sure your devices are updated.
I hate updated devices.
No, but you need to. When someone,
But you know what happens when you update your computer? Everything goes to crap. They install some kind of new operating service, and it's garbage. Garbage. I hate it.
That depends. So, sometimes in updates, Microsoft, for example, will add a new feature to your operating system, but more often than not, it's patching up a vulnerability found. There's a lot of people who are dedicated to finding things that are wrong with software and hardware, and when they do, they notify the people who create, like Microsoft. There's a bug bounty program. When somebody finds something wrong, they let them know, they get money for it, and Microsoft will take that information and say, okay, so let's fix it in our operating system and get that out to everybody so that everybody is more secure. WannaCry, the ransomware WannaCry that went out, the patch for it, the fix for it, was released about 6 months before that ransomware hit the wild.
Wow.
So if people had patched themselves at the time that the patch was available, those people would not have become vulnerable to that ransomware.
And ransomware is?
Ransomware is a new type of malicious code that takes your hard drive and everything in it, encrypts it so that you can't bring it back, and posts a message saying you need to pay X amount of Bitcoin or X amount of money in order for your stuff to get to become available to you once again.
So they haven't stolen your computer and held it ransom, but what they've done is...
They stole your data.
They stole your data. Can you use your computer or no? Is it,
No.
Your computer's totally locked down. You can't do anything with it.
Yeah. My students played with WannaCry.
What?
My students played with WannaCry not too long ago.
What do you mean played with? It's not like letting them play with plutonium? I mean, that's like not a good idea.
Well, in the world of IT, we have something called virtual machines, or the bigger term is virtualization. We can take a computer and virtualize it in a program, in a sandbox, and do everything and anything we want within that environment. So if I want to release something new, I want to test it.
Right.
I want to make sure that it works. So I can have a testing environment, make sure things don't crack or don't break, that everything flows smoothly, and then I can go into production and update everything else or install whatever software I want to install.
Is it as fail-safe as you make it sound? I mean, you make it sound like, we'll put it in the sandbox, no worry, it's not going to turn into some monster. Haven't you seen things like The Fly or movies like that where they take something and they think they have it under control? Next thing you know, it's out of control.
That's why we have people like malware analysis. That's what they do. They'll take a program and they'll break it open, they'll dissect it. They'll look at its DNA. How does it work? What are the commands? In what order does it work? Does it jump somewhere it shouldn't? What is its actions?
You said DNA. They don't actually use that term in
we don't.
tech language.
But
that would be cool if they did, though. I like that. I like those interchangeable terms. Those are cool. Okay, so Irvin Lemus, you are joining us for until 7 p.m., yes? You can stick around for a few hours? Okay, we're going to talk all kinds of things. We're just getting started. We are just getting started. Let's get the most important stuff out of the way, though. Is there any way people can contact you? Do you have a website? Do you do anything else? The best way to find out more is to enroll in your classes?
They can enroll in my classes. They can send me an email through the Cabrillo College website. And actually, my email is there. If you go to Cabrillo College or cabrillo.edu and you put my name, my contact info will show up. It'll be the first thing.
You mentioned .edu, and that's you bring up something that I've wondered about. Yesterday, David Corsi in the KSCO newsroom mentioned that people were getting spoofed out there. They're getting scammed and sent to dmv.org rather than dmv.ca.gov or whatever it is. And anything official, any official education facility or a campus is going to end with .edu?
Mostly, yes. Mostly, yes. Like K through 12s don't always end up with .edu.
Oh,
I
that
believe
doesn't help.
Santa Cruz County has a K12.ca.us at the end.
If it says .ca, does that mean that it is officially gone through by the state of California?
That's the intention. Just like .com means commercial, .edu educational, .net network.
Is there any? Can I be assured that if it says .edu that it is?
No. Just because it says .edu doesn't mean it's.
You didn't even let me finish the question. It's like you can't be sure of anything.
Yeah,
right?
well, that's why we have cybersecurity. That's why I teach to people to educate on how to identify when something is legitimate and not.
What does it cost to enroll in a course down at Cabrillo?
I believe it's $45 a unit. I'm actually not 100% sure.
But it's still a bargain, right?
Well, yeah.
You're gonna learn so much.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we have a few more minutes. Do we have another tip here? So change your passwords. Frequent updates are also a good idea.
Backup.
Oh,
Backups.
I got to ask you about the backup. What does that mean? Because I bought an external hard drive and I saved everything to it maybe 5, 6, 7 months ago, maybe a year ago. Is that what a backup is, or is there something? What I sound like an idiot. What is a backup?
You're on the right track.
Okay.
So having backups means making a copy of your data, making a copy of everything on your computer should something go wrong, because it's not always an if, it's a when.
Right, yeah, it is going to crash, right? And when my computer does crash, is my information no longer retrievable? The pictures of my daughter in her kangaroo suit and second Halloween, I cannot get those anymore?
It depends on the level, on exactly what happened, but your backups is where you could go to bring that information back should the case be that you lost the information on your actual computer.
And that would be my external hard drive.
Yes.
Is that a good idea?
That's a good idea, actually.
And backing up on your computer, because sometimes it'll say, do you want to back up on my computer? I'm thinking, well, what does that mean?
It means making a copy.
On your computer, on the same computer. Well,
Right.
how would you
So
access that if the computer goes...
in Windows, there is a Windows backup tool that could use your external hard drive and actually make a copy of itself and save it there. In Apple, it's called Time Machine.
Okay.
And they both do the same function of they're going to save everything that you have, your configuration settings, your pictures, your whatever you have saved, and make a copy of it elsewhere so that when your computer fails, you still have your data.
Okay, we'll talk about that on the other side. We got to get out to news. We'll talk about backups and storing your information, where to store your information, which is the best. I have mine stored on an external hard drive. Somebody here suggested that I store my stuff on the cloud, and that seems like in the cloud, everybody would have access to whatever I'm storing out there.
That all depends. But
Okay, we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. 479-1080. If you have any questions, you can send them. You can text them in. You can call in with them. You can send emails, and we'll get to them. We are here with Irvin Lemus. He is an instructor at Cabrillo College. Be sure to check out the Cabrillo College website. Yes. Find out more information. It's 4:30. We're going to break for headlines. David Corsi is standing by.
You're listening to KSCO, serving Monterey, Brookdale, and San Lucas.
Or 791-080, DM at KSCO.com, 218-5726. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. All of those are safe. Yes, Irvin, I hope. Yes, they're safe to check out.
as long as you're using secure usernames and passwords and two-factor authentication, yeah.
Could somebody really catch a virus from something that I posted on my Facebook page? I mean, I would never post something willingly dangerous, but could I get duped into posting something like that?
Very much so. If you are tricked into posting a link, like a bit.ly link, for example, that redirects you to another location, if it doesn't go where it should, then yes, you could be redirecting people to malicious websites who would then download malicious information and cause harm.
We're speaking with Irvin Lemus, and if they want to enroll again,
Cabrillo.edu.
Cabrillo.edu. Okay, we're talking about, when we went to a break, we're talking about cyber hygiene, you called it?
Yeah, cyber hygiene. Well, it's part of the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Yes, Cyber Security Awareness Month. Change your passwords.
Yes.
Frequent updates. Backups.
Yes.
We're talking about storing information on an external hard drive versus up there in the cloud.
Yeah, I would do both because you want to have a backup of a backup. What happens if a flood happens and your hard drive is lost?
Okay, but nobody can tamper with my hard drive while it's sitting in my drawer, whereas the other information that's in the cloud, that is accessible by more people, right?
Unless you encrypt it. So there's various ways, and there's various providers who take your information and encrypt it in using algorithms and that have been tested by many, many people that the industry uses. And the password is only known to you. You hold the keys to the kingdom. They can't access it. They are storing it, but they're unable to peek into the container or.
Now, is that really true? I mean, if the end of the world was coming and they needed to find out what was on that in that file, they could do it, right?
If you're talking the government, like the National Security Agency,
Right,
they
yes.
probably can. But in the sense that we're in the realistic sense of what we're talking about, having a home computer and saving backups like photos, which are critical, or special documents, I see no problem in putting them into an external hard drive and also making a copy of that and putting it on the cloud.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how advanced are these guys like Fancy Bear or WannaCry or Goosifer? How advanced are those guys?
They are very advanced.
Really?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about a guy. You're talking about a team, right?
Yes, we're talking about teams.
Those are all teams.
Yes.
479-1080. So we're talking about tips here. You mentioned 3 or 4 more that we should get to. Change your passwords, frequent updates, frequent backups.
Yes.
Frequent backups?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Where to next?
Paying attention to your Wi-Fi router.
Okay.
What that means is everybody at home likes to have Wi-Fi. Right. You can move anywhere with your laptop, with your phone. You have access to the internet.
Sure.
Are you aware of how far your Wi-Fi network actually reaches? Something that I teach in my Fundamentals of Security class is Wi-Fi has blurred the line of what the border is for a network. If a network is completely comprised of hard wire, you know where everything ends. But with wireless, it goes through the walls. Are you aware of how far someone can find your access point down the street? When you normally install a router, it's always set. The power is set to 100%. That's just the default. My suggestion to everyone is see how far it actually goes. Does it go beyond your property? And if it does, you may want to lower that power. It doesn't change the connection. Mm-hmm. It's still there. It's still valid. The difference is how far can it be reached.
Okay.
There's actually a website that anybody can go to see if your access point has been located by people who are called war drivers. These are people who use their laptops, use their cell phones, and literally drive around different streets. And when they find an access point, they log it onto that website. That website is wigle.net.
Okay. And what does that tell me if I go there, like I am right now?
So if you go there, it will give you a map, and I believe it defaults to San Francisco.
Holy cow, what is that?
So these are all access points that have been found. If you double click.
No way.
Yes, you can zoom in. And in San Francisco, there's a whole lot of access points, so that's probably not a good place. So I'm going to type in Cabrillo's address, which is 6500 SoCal Drive.
Okay, and it says, will you allow access to your location? When
you could say no.
Is that good general advice? Just say
yes.
No? Okay.
Yes. So if you go to 6500 SoCal Drive on that website, you'll see a couple of little purple dots. And if you zoom in closer, you start seeing the name of the access point that someone located.
What do you mean the name of it? Like it could be KSEO Studio?
Yeah. Yeah, so I went to 6500 SoCal Drive. I zoomed in, and the two networks that it sees on SoCal Drive are Secure HawkNet and HawkNet. These are the two access points that we have for students and staff. So someone drove by at some point and had their laptop or their cell phone on and recording what access points they saw with their GPS.
Okay.
And then logged it to the website.
Okay, so now they know the name.
So they know the name, and normally they also know if this access point is secure or not. If the little dot is green, it means that network is insecure.
So green means go ahead and hack me?
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
Basically.
And this is wigle.net, wigle.net.
Yes.
Am I doing something bad by looking at this?
No. This is public information.
I feel like I'm like a peeping Tom, like I'm looking at somebody's...
The whole point of this is to raise awareness of your wireless network is beaconing out to the world, hey, I'm here, which is normal. It's normal for a device to, like an access point to say, or like your Wi-Fi router to say, hey, I'm here. So when your phone gets in range, it automatically connects.
Do you think it would be fair to say that every single bit of space in our country is covered by some sort of Wi-Fi, or at least in California, Santa Cruz County?
Maybe. I wouldn't know 100%.
I mean, I'm looking at
sure,
that's San Francisco, I think, and look at the whole thing.
Oh
is
yeah, San
purple.
Francisco is.
It's just.
Is
I mean, it's
lit up like the night
covered.
sky. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Change your passwords, frequent updates, frequent backups, Wi-Fi router. What does that? Maintain your Wi-Fi router. What did
so
you?
Make sure that the power setting in your Wi-Fi router is adequate to your property.
Okay.
So if it's too strong, then it's going beyond your property, and that means anybody in the street can locate it. Mm-hmm. So lessen it so that it's within your.
And when
your
you do
physical
lessen
property.
it doesn't affect your signal strength, your signal quality.
Right.
Inside
It doesn't
your
affect
house.
the quality.
It just keeps it from going out as far.
Right.
479-1080 dm@ksco.com. Does that wrap up that topic? We got a caller here I'd like to get to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to a caller, and then we'll talk. We'll finish off this list. Steve is calling from Aptos. Now, if you have any questions, you can either send them in, you can call them, or text 218-5726-dm@ksco.com, 831-479-1080. And again, you can enroll at Cabrillo College, right?
Yes.
When does the semester start, the next semester?
The next semester starts in January.
January. Oh, that's not too far away. Steve, calling from Aptos. You're in the air.
Oh, hi, it's Pete, but it's Steve is okay too. Hey, I don't know if you're the right guy to ask or not, but when you're on your cell phone and they say that you only have so much data storage or so much data, unlimited data, because you're taking videos and all that, but do you know, if you're the guy, hopefully this isn't too off the subject, but what about when you're with AT&T on your Wi-Fi at home and you're on your, whether it's your computer or you're on your laptop or you're on your handheld, and they say you've run out of storage or you've run out of data from AT&T. The question I have is, if I have two computers on my router and they're plugged in and on, is that eating up data by just being plugged on, or plugged in and on?
I don't know. Irvin, what do you think?
So if your two computers are connected to whatever AT&T is monitoring, so if it's your cell phone, for example, if your two laptops are connected to your cell phone and that's how they're getting out to the internet, then yes, then it would be keeping track of your data amount that you pay for each month. But if it's connected at home, then it shouldn't. Ideally, it shouldn't be using your cell phone or any other medium. It should be using your Wi-Fi. The next question then would be where is your Wi-Fi connected to? What is its final endpoint?
It's just right there in the front room by the computer. The thing is, now AT&T is saying you've run out of data storage. I went from AT&T and
maybe. Well, thank you for your call, Pete. 479, and maybe he's got too much information on his phone, because mine does that too. It drives me freaking nuts, man. It says you've got too much data stored and you cannot download this song or whatever. That drives me crazy. Is that what he's talking about? Maybe
it could be. I wasn't too sure.
Okay, 479-1080. So we are talking Cybersecurity Awareness Month,
Yes,
which is
we are.
October. Scary things happen in October. It's the beginning of the Halloween season, right? Things get creepier. The trees lose their leaves. It gets colder, windy. It's creepy out there. The creepiest things, though, and some of the scariest things are what's happening online, right? It is October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Change your passwords. Update frequently. Also, make sure you back up your computer. Adjust the power settings on your Wi-Fi router. What next?
Your personal information, think of it like money. Value it. Protect it. Be thoughtful of who and what knows your purchase history, your location, through sites, through devices, through applications.
Okay. What is that? Value of personal information. I don't know much about computers, but I would think that if you don't value your personal information as if though it's money, then people can get it and hack into your money
And use it.
Use
Use it at your expense. Yes.
If they steal my information from my credit card, am I still protected by the credit card company?
Yeah, credit card companies are actually really good at responding when a fraud has occurred.
Banks? Do you know?
Same.
Okay.
Banks have
Good.
gotten really good.
So you still
at
don't want it to
identifying.
happen, but if it does happen,
Right.
there's
Right.
some hope that you can
Right.
get it corrected.
But I mean, when in this scenario, for example, we're talking about like your Amazon purchases. Does Amazon only know, or have you logged in to another website that keeps track of that? Because then that's how phishing works. By learning what you go to, where you shop, what you buy, then someone can craft, or it's done automatically actually, craft an email or an ad that kind of lures you to something malicious.
I heard about this, and it's taking the jobs of white-collar people, right? So there's people who would get paid to do this, to study the buying habits of people and see what's trending and to order these products. Now they have computers that are doing this.
It's big data.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
big data, yeah.
Yeah, it's big data. Have it automated, but create much faster.
479-1082-1-85726. 831 is the area code. We are here with Irvin Lemus, and he is an instructor at Cabrillo College. Classes start, again, semester starts in January?
Yes.
Okay, now we got a bajillion phone calls coming in. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so let's head out to, I believe, I don't know who this is. I don't have my call screen program here. Caller, you're in the air. It looks like Marnie or Marina.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
I'm calling with a question. I just did the wiggle.net and with my home address, and you said something about a green light. All that shows up in color is a date range, which says 2001 to 2019, and then coloring, density. I'm not sure what to take from that.
So the coloring is how many access points are within a certain area. And the date range is when they were discovered. If you really click down, different access points will change color to show what is secure and what isn't. But the whole point of this website is to see is your access point known, and if it is, there is a way to remove it off the site, and the steps are on the website. You can check that out. But the idea is, are you known?
Because there's two pieces of information. Yes, they need your name and your password, and if they know the name, then
no. For this website, no. People are just driving around and finding what access points are available, and that information gets sent up to this website.
So, you caller in Marina, did you find your information? What did you find when you entered your address in there?
I didn't find what I was looking for as far as being able to tell if other people are accessing.
No, it won't tell you if other people are accessing.
But if my power is too strong for people driving by outside.
Right. If your access point is on that website, then that means somebody found it. Mm-hmm. They didn't get in, but at least they know it exists in this geographical area.
Right. Thank you for the call, caller. So I think what when she's talking about how to adjust the power so that people driving by can't get it, that has to be done on your router.
Right.
That has nothing to do with this website.
Right. It doesn't have to do with the website.
Right.
That is a setting that you have to go into your router.
And if you don't know how to do that, maybe you should call somebody. What is the IP address to get into?
It depends. Different routers have different IP addresses. Mm-hmm. The easiest way I would say is to call tech support and have them help you, because different vendors will do it in different ways.
Yeah. Boy, I hope that helps her out, right? She should call her internet service provider. Maybe we could help her with that.
Yeah.
That's, dude. It took me like 2 days to figure out what an internet service provider is, right? so if it's AT&T, whoever's surprised, in my case, my cable provider provides internet. That is my ISP. That's my internet service provider, right?
Correct.
Charter.
Correct.
Or a Comcast or whoever it is. That's so contact them, caller, and ask how you can adjust the settings on your router.
Yes.
Right? Okay, let's see who's up next. Dave calling from Salinas. You're in the air.
Yeah. if you guys don't want to get hacked, you just turn your computer off, step out on your front porch, and yell down the street, "Hey!"
What do you think about that, Irvin? I mean, okay, that would work too, Dave. But we're talking technology, right? We're moving past that, and technology, along with advances, comes maybe some dangers, some pitfalls, right? This is one of the pitfalls.
It's one of the pitfalls because when someone creates something, security is not always at the top of the list. When someone writes a new program, they don't think about security because they want to get that product to do its job.
Right. And then plus, there's nothing as good as putting it out there in front of a million people to just hack away at it, right? And just pick at it and find those weaknesses.
Well,
that's great.
When someone makes a program, they don't make it with that intention of please attack this.
But you can't possibly think of everything.
You can't possibly think of anything. And that's why there's an entire field of people who dedicate their lives to doing that.
These are guys like the guys in the white hats.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
there a
we
name
call
for
the
those?
white hat.
Well, you're an ethical hacker.
Yes.
That's you.
Yes.
We'll talk about that too. 479-1080. Let's see who's up next. Paul is calling from Watsonville. You're in the air.
Yeah, real quick. Looking at the recent news about the microchip computers having a backdoor in them, is there any real practical issues with the current, with me as a consumer, or is it just the people that run the servers? And I guess, to me, it's when you read the paper, it's been going on since 2015. I'm just surprised what the damage control is going to be.
Yeah, what does that mean, Irvin? We were talking about this a little bit before we got on the air. Thank you for your call, Paul. So, what is a server? Correct? Because they found these servers being sent from Chinese companies to have some kind of little spy chip on. What is a server?
So people like companies like Amazon, they have to have a machine capable enough to handle all the data that we send to it, like when we make purchases, our history, so on and so forth. They need a machine that handles all that, and those are called servers because that's their job. They serve information to us. With that specific note that came out today, it was found hardware-wise, there was a chip about the size of a rice grain that was really, really embedded that could work as a backdoor, that could call out to others. To the question of the caller, no, it doesn't necessarily affect you individually, but it does affect whoever has that product and is using it.
So they're going more for the big fish rather than the little guy.
Well, yeah.
Okay. 479-1080. Let's see if we can fit a few more calls here. Pure Heart calling from Aptos. You're in the air.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Irwin.
Hello.
I understand there's actually a way to make your server or your Wi-Fi access point invisible. You just have to know the name of it, tell people the name of it. But that's not my question. In the news, there's been some people have had their Bitcoin stolen. I wonder if you can kind of do a short synopsis of what Bitcoin is and what's actually stolen. What do they do? What is it? So, anyway, I'll listen on the air.
How do they steal this? I mean, it's not an armed robbery. They don't put it in a little gold pouch and take off on the horse, right? How do they do this?
At a very, very basic level.
Thank you for your call, Pure Heart.
Yes. At a very basic level, Bitcoin is data, digital data, ones and zeros, just expressed as monetary value. When someone steals it, it's like they made a copy of it and manipulated it in some way, shape, or form. And this is without getting into the weeds of it all.
So it's a copy? It's like a cheap copy of the Mona Lisa or a good copy of the Mona Lisa?
It's an exact copy. Because we're talking data. You can copy down to the bits and bytes and make an exact replica.
So since it's data, there's no way of saying, hey, this is the authentic Mona Lisa. We can scan it. We can see there's layers of paint.
Right. In digital forensics.
This is perfect.
In digital forensics, we make exact copies. Down, precise copies.
We are speaking with Irvin Lemus. He is an instructor at Cabrillo College and an ethical hacker. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break, it looks like, because we've got to get to one more phone call. Steve calling from Aptos. You're in the air.
Hey, real quick question. Forgive me if you've already answered it, but how does a VPN protect me?
Think of a VPN like if you're in a large room and you and another person speak a language that no one else in the room understands. In that way, the conversation you have with that other person is secure because nobody else can understand what's happening.
So I should have a VPN?
Yes, a VPN is a good security measure.
Is that something you buy? Is that a machine you buy down at the store, or no?
Some routers actually come with it, Some you can purchase, like ExpressVPN and NordVPN and others.
And this is a device you buy at the...
It can be a device or it can be a piece of software.
All right. Thank you for your call, Pete, or Steve. 479-1080-218-5726. Check out cabrillocollege.edu. Is that where to go?
Cabrillo.edu.
Cabrillo.edu to find out more about upcoming classes. We're here with Irvin Lemus. If you have any questions, you can send them in. You can fax them in. You can text them in. Or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Interact there as well. KSCO Santa Cruz will be back on the other side of this break. Keep it tuned in.
If someone should ask, tell them you heard it on AM 1080 KSCO.
479-1080. You are listening to Flight 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz, KOMY LaSalle Beach, Watsonville, AM 1340. We're hanging out with Irvin Lemus. If you have any questions, you can send them in, text them in, email. We promise we won't hack your... Can they be exposed to some kind of bad thing by sending me an email, Irvin?
Unless you send an email back that's malicious, then no.
Okay. So sending things is fine. Just receiving things, you might be in trouble. All right. If you have any questions, again, get them into us, and we will ask them, or you can ask yourself of Irvin. Jack, you have any questions before we move on?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. If you have any, dude, I got your mic on, so just break in there. Up next, we're going to talk apprenticeships.
Yes.
By the way, I forgot to mention you teach at Cabrillo, right?
Yes.
And they can find more information about your courses and stuff at cabrillo.edu?
Correct.
Okay. Apprenticeships. Tell me more about this.
So, as part of a grant with Mission College, Evergreen Valley, and Cabrillo, we are developing a talent pipeline to answer the call from industry of we need people who can do computer support, who can do data center work, using the apprenticeship model. What this means is our students are taking our Cabrillo College classes. As they're learning those skills, we get them a job. So they continue through Cabrillo, continuing their classes, and they also have a job answering that cyclical question of, in order to get work, you need experience. In order to experience, you need work. So through the U.S. Department of Labor, we have this program, this apprenticeship program. The intent is that the employer will take these students, hire them, and hopefully that turns into a full-time or a part-time employment.
How valuable is a skill is it to learn what you do there? So in this apprenticeship, I'm going to be taught again, what?
So the apprenticeship gives students that chance of getting that first job. Because that's always the hardest part, right? You take these classes, you have these skills, you're building your resume, but nobody wants to take you because, you don't have experience. Whereas this breaks that and says, you know what, you're still in school, we're going to help you. Part of this grant is we actually help our students with their resume. We help them with their interviewing. We help them with their placement. We work with them as headhunters and prepare them for that first job while working with industry and building that partnership with industry so that when an employer says, hey, I need somebody to help me with computer support, somebody who can answer phones and be able to solve questions, be able to solve things. And we say, you know what? This student have taken a couple of our classes. They know how to do that. So, and we've already prepped them. We've already screened them. They look like good candidates. What do you think? Would you like to take them on?
How much... The way of the future now, if you want to earn money, man, I mean, you just look at who has the money, and it's Silicon Valley engineers, right? I don't know, techies. We only have bad names for them, right? These guys have tons of money coming out of their ears. What are they doing to earn that money? What are these guys? What is the average job over there? The average high-paying job over there? What should I be studying if I want to learn that? And how much can Cabrillo teach versus how much of it is just a given gift? I mean, how much of it is creativity, the organic creativity coming from the person himself, and how much can be taught? I'm assuming somebody who is taught at Cabrillo and has all that creativity can do something bigger?
Yeah. So, for example, in the classes that are part of this, we have a class called IT Essentials that essentially teaches you how to take a computer apart and put it back together again, to understand the different hardware and software components that go into a standard computer and a server.
Okay.
There we have a computer network fundamentals class that teaches how do two computers connect. How does your cell phone go out to the internet? How does Wi-Fi work? That kind of stuff.
Okay.
So we're building those fundamentals. Dave, do you know about Linux?
I know that it is. No, I don't know. I don't know anything about Linux. Is it a printer or something? I don't know.
No, it's an operating system.
Okay.
Windows normally costs about $100 and something. I think it's 132 or some change. Anywho, you have to pay for the Windows operating system, and whenever you buy a new computer, that price is added into it.
Oh, okay. So like it's like when you buy a car with the stereo system, it's already figured into the price that you've paid.
Right.
Okay, got it.
There is another operating system that's completely free that works just the same. It's called Linux. This is a free operating system that is worked with collaboratively around the world.
Okay.
So people,
that sounds bad.
No, it's actually really good. People around the world together, when they they write new code to add into the Linux, what's called the kernel or the heart of the operating system. Everybody's working together to make sure that it can, for example, handle USB 3, that it can handle the latest video card, that it can do from high-end programming like in supercomputers to a standard laptop. Android runs on Linux.
Okay.
Don't know if you knew, but we have a class on that teaches you how to navigate this operating system.
Okay.
And we also have Python, which is a programming language. The class is actually called Cloud Programming with Python. This is part of what we call our core track, basic fundamental knowledge that can be applied in any direction that you go in the world of IT.
Okay.
So
this is stuff that you have to have in your toolbox.
Yes.
Up here.
Right.
Okay.
And then from there, it can branch out in many directions. Like we have our computer networking and systems administration degree that dives further into how how networks function, how the internet functions, virtualization, Windows systems administration, and so on, so that a graduate has the knowledge, not only the fundamental but the practical knowledge of IT infrastructure. And as they get that knowledge, then we tie them up with a business so that they get that experience. So it's not just classroom knowledge, but it's also in the field experience.
What does IT mean?
Information technology.
I should write that down too. Okay, you're talking about Linux and Windows. These are operating systems, yes?
Yes. Those
iOS. What is iOS?
That's an operating system. Yes,
right?
That works for Apple devices like the phone, the tablet.
What does IT stand for again? You just told me.
Information technology.
Infotech. Okay. I'll just abbreviate that, and I will know what that means later. Okay, so my understanding, Jack, I don't know if this is your understanding. I'm a nerd, but not in a technical way. I understand that Macs are safer to use than the PC, right? Yes, no,
No, that was a very.
What am I talking about?
That's a very great marketing campaign.
Jack, what's your understanding?
So
I'm older than you, so I would think you're younger, hipper. What is your understanding?
I mean, I am younger and I am hipper.
Yes.
And I am very cool.
Right.
And many people want to be my friend.
Oh, okay, that's enough. Okay, yes.
But so the way that it was explained to me by a guy was that, because he was trying to sell me on Macs. And he says, listen, Macs, they make everything in-house. Everything is made by the company. All the products are meant to function together. You go to buy a PC, one's made in Beijing, one's made in Taipei, one's made in Vietnam. They throw it together. One's a complex meal. The other one's a goulash. Not a goulash. A gumbo. One's a gumbo. One of them is a soup. One of them is a gumbo. You see the difference? This is what he's trying to sell me. Dave's looking at me so confused.
You had me up until the soup analogy. But is it true that... yes, Apple takes better care of where they get their parts, their part sourcing, and no?
No. It's all the same.
That was my research eventually led me just to that it's pretty much all the same, except for Mac just happens to have a better advertising firm.
Yeah, their advertising is really awesome.
Wow. So tell me why I think that a Mac is not a PC.
No, it is. PC stands for personal computer.
Mac is not a PC. No. A Mac is not a PC. because I always hear it's for PC and Mac. Right.
That's part of the advertisement.
Wow.
Mac makes its own.
Yes.
So the thing that makes a Macintosh or an Apple computer what it is. So my MacBook Pro has its own operating system that's specifically designed for it. Makes no difference with a PC. So you could put, Mac software on a PC if you so chose. I once had a MacBook Pro that had Linux on it and iOS, and I would just switch between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That shows you what I know.
This is part of what apprenticeships learn. They learn how to be able to answer to these kinds of questions and be able to work with people in helping them navigate the world of IT. Some of the stuff that we provide, the opportunities are like short-term contracts, part-time full employment, paid, unpaid internships, and the registered apprenticeships through the Department of Labor.
That's great, dude. I think I asked you this at the fairgrounds when I saw you out there. Is the typical, or the what is currently seen as, what I see as the typical degree, going to be less and less valuable versus some guy who has this information in their head?
Some businesses still value the 4-year degree, but there's an increasing number of businesses who also are seeing that experience really counts. There was an article not too long ago that where Google and a couple other big companies were actually looking for work experience, and we who have been working on this apprenticeship program jumped up and said yes, because this is what we have been talking about, and in growing the local community talent to work here in Santa Cruz County that have that knowledge to be able to go into the field and fill that need, because there's a very big need for people in technology and cybersecurity. Yeah. And we're doing our best and working with anybody who wants to create those partnerships and give students a chance to get into the field.
Okay, it's October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. See, I wrote that down. Let's see. Boy, I had a great question I was just going to ask you too, and I lost track of it. Maybe I'll remember it when Keith is talking, while Keith is talking. He's calling from Aptos. He has a question for you. Irvin, you're in the air, Keith.
Yeah, I got a sort of strange question. If I use my cellular phone at home going through my Comcast Wi-Fi, am I traceable? Can anybody find my location?
Yes, if you are using an application that is saying your location. There's a number of apps that in part of their communication out also log their longitude and latitude.
How would I block that?
Well, you could stop the application that is running it, and in phones, it's easy. If you go to the permissions within the settings of your phone, you can see what application has permissions to what, and you can block certain things. So, if, for example, if you don't want Twitter to know your location, you can block that access.
No, I'm just saying a phone call. I'm actually calling somebody that I don't want them to be able to know where I'm calling from.
No. I don't think someone could know where you are just by calling you, Keith.
Yeah. No. If you're placing a phone call, like for example from where you are to us right now, where we can't necessarily keep track, or we don't have the tool to.
The NSA does.
NSA does.
Okay.
They can, and
but Uncle Joe doesn't.
Your phone provider can as well, because they know what cell tower you connected to, so at least they know in what geographical area you were in when you made the call.
But I'm going through Comcast. My Wi-Fi, my cellular phone goes through my Comcast by Wi-Fi, and then it goes through the internet.
Right. So my phone does that too. If I'm connected to my home Wi-Fi, then my calls route through that. And again, if my phone app is giving out the longitude, latitude, then someone takes that information, then yes, they can.
Thank you for your call, Keith. 47910. Why do you go home, and why do you place your phone calls through the internet rather than on
higher quality?
Oh, okay. Not because it's more secure or less secure.
This is higher quality.
It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I still have up that Wiggle, right? Wiggle.net. Yes. That's WIG, only one G. Wiggle.net, and they can find what again?
If your access point has been located by a war driver, it will be on that website.
What are some other cool websites that we can go and find out some of our that we should know about? You know, because you're talking IT tech and apprenticeships, all these classes. The stuff that you're teaching, are these like the times tables? I mean, this is basic information. Everybody should know this, whether or not you're in IT. If you're alive and out there breathing, you should know this stuff.
There are some, and those are what we call the core classes.
Okay.
And then we branch out into our specialties.
Okay. Any other websites that we should know about? What do I see when I go to, watch, I'm going to go to what'smyip.com and I'll let you know what it is. Should I say it out loud?
I wouldn't.
Why? What do I find when I type that, what's my IP, and it pops up my IP address? What is an IP address?
An IP address is basically like your home address. Any device on the internet will be able to locate your end device by that. That's your identification. So when taking a step back, the way networks work is every device has to identify itself, and we all use IP addresses because that is the convention to identify I am Irvin, you are Dave,
Jack.
Yes. So we have private IP addresses that work within our local network, so like in your house, and then there's the public IP addresses that face out to the rest of the world. When you want to go to ksco.com, your end device, like your phone or your laptop, makes that request to your router. Your router then asks the next router over, where is ksco.com? That gets translated into an IP address because computers don't understand ksco.com, but they'll understand an IP address. And that information will go back to you, to your end device, and then your end device finally makes the connection straight to ksco.com by IP address and then gets the information and then loads the website.
So the IP address could be 304.68.185.
Right, it's all numbers.
It's all numbers.
Yes.
And this means something, though, to the computers.
Yes, it identifies that device or that service.
479-1080-218-5726. If you have any questions for our guest, you can also take his course at Cabrillo College, cabrillo.edu. All right, Irvin, we have just a few minutes here, about 2 minutes. What do we want to talk about next, or 2 minutes worth? What do we
so you mentioned about another website.
Yeah.
There's a fun one, haveibeenpwned.com.
No way.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So when there's breaches, there are a number of websites, and this is one that brings together those breaches and then makes available to you to find out if your information has been compromised.
What does that mean? Pwned. What does that mean?
Oh, that means that someone got into that system and took information out, like a database of emails and passwords. So if you go to that website, and the way it's spelled is HAVEIBEENPWNED.
Spell this again?
HA.
Okay, have I, right?
Yeah, have I been, and then PWNED.com.
I don't like that it's pronounced pwned when there's no O there. Does that bug you as a teacher?
Because this is a term in the industry. You pwned a machine. That means you conquered it.
Okay.
So it doesn't really bother me. But
it should still have an O. Jack, help me out here. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
No, but my point was, I just looked it up. I have not been pwned because I use all of the techniques that Irwin is talking about.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth item at the top bar, there's passwords.
Right.
This is a fun one that I like to do with middle school and high school students when I explain to them about how secure passwords are. If you go to that page and you type in, for example, the word password all lowercase, and you hit enter, it shows you that word has been used 3,500,000 times. So you wanna check. Has your password been used? Yeah, and if it has, change it, please.
479-1080-218-5726. And Windows XP, you say, is not good?
Oh, please no. No.
532 headlines are coming up next.
Thanks for listening to AM 1080 KSCO.
listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. It is 5:39. It is October. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and that's why Irvin Lemus is joining us today. He is also an instructor over at Cabrillo College, cabrillo.edu if you want to find out more. He is an ethical hacker as well, and we'll talk more about that coming up. Jack?
Yeah, just to clarify, I just got a phone call from someone who's on Highway 17 right now, just by Lark Avenue. Apparently that overpass was hit or struck by a very large excavator, which was being hauled.
Wow.
It has ripped off a section of that overpass. There is concrete. And yeah, he's going to send you pictures.
Wow.
DM at ksco.com.
Right.
To let you know. And if anybody has any updates, feel free to give me a call, 479-1080. Apparently it's really bad.
Holy mackerel.
I've had a couple of phone calls at this point. People are apparently just hanging out.
All right, I also have a report here. I don't know if you saw this, a dead deer out there on Highway 17. It is rutting season again. We'll let our listeners know. Turn on your lights and watch out for the deer because they are out there and they're in the mood. They're in the mood for love, and they're out there chasing whatever, doing crazy deer things. Watch out for them.
I got a technology question.
Okay.
If that's cool.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So, are you, Irvin, familiar with the concept of panoptic control, or the idea put forth by Michel Foucault that the more information that we lack in our immediate control, the more it goes out, the more that control or power can be exerted over a populace?
I am not familiar with that.
So I guess this is the reason that I fear technology. I'm kind of a bit of an Amish when it comes to technology, in the sense that I believe firmly that the more information that we give out to tech companies, to the government in general, the more control can be exerted over the populace. No, and the reason I ask that is because you're a hacker, you're an ethical hacker, you're giving classes at Cabrillo. Could you assuage my fears? Could you tell me, Jack, you're just being a paranoid guy, your tinfoil hat, you got to take it off, put it down, come back to the real world. Please do that for me.
Irvin? Yes? No?
Let's see. Well, if you're right that if you have more information about yourself that's publicly available, that could be used. I mean, that's how phishing scams work. Is they take information that's publicly available and use it to trick you into giving out personally identifiable information, like your address, your SSID, passwords, and so on.
Well, my concern is that, and call me an Alex Jones type conspiracy theorist. I'm not, but you could call me that. That the more we become dependent on technology for bank transactions, for location, as the caller pointed out earlier, the less control we are able to have over our own lives and our own choices. For example, you mentioned, that what was that, ransomware? That, to me, the question that I ask is, why couldn't a government agency step in? Why couldn't they do that to our to the population at large? To me, when I look at the technology, in many ways, I think it's a weakness for us as a society. It's a strength, yes. Medical technology, people get treatments for cancer and everything, but our data is just out there.
It doesn't have to be out there. I mean, one of the items in the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month for this week is share with care, and that's think before posting online. So, like, if you're going on a vacation, you don't want to let the world know, hey, I'm on a vacation, so I'm not home. That's almost welcoming.
What about the government having so much information on you? This actually happened, this story I'm about to tell you. And what if it was the government that did this to us? Somebody a few years ago, more than a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago now, over in San Jose, cut a fiber optic line. Actually, it was sabotage. Somebody went in there and cut it on purpose. This is a guy who was trained, in fiber optics. He knew where he was going. He knew what to do. He cut those cables, and this whole area was cut off from existence, it seemed like. The banks didn't work. The ATMs didn't work. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. Some gas pumps worked, but for the most part, we were isolated. We were just like an island. It was bizarre. It was scary. Now, what if the government said, what if the new martial law is we cut off all of your online banking abilities, right? So you no longer have money, you no longer have gas. You will do what we say. You're going to go home. The government uses the information and the power that they have on you for that. Is that? I guess that's possible, right? Do you see that as a real danger?
I don't see that as a danger, but it is a possibility. I mean, I wouldn't hope that they would do something like that, but I wouldn't say that's completely far-fetched either.
If they can send something out like they did yesterday, the presidential warning, couldn't they also deny access to things like online banking, or couldn't they use that to exert power, like Jack was saying, to use power and flex their power on us?
I'm not sure. And that's kind of...
That's not a yes, not a no, though,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And like we were talking, you're a cyber hacker, you're an ethical hacker.
Yes.
Almost anything is possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not sure what...
As long as there's a communication.
Right, the possibility could be there. Will they do it? Will they not? I mean, that's outside of my purview.
Is it as simple as this? If the devices are communicating, there's always a chance that they can be hacked or used, manipulated?
Yes, if a device is on a network, then yes, because nothing is 100% secure.
479-1080, 218-5726, dm@ksco.com. Okay, explain to me, ethical hacker. So you are the guy in the white hat, right?
Yes.
I'm picturing you as this guy for hire who, for right now, wears a white hat, but could put on the black hat if somebody pays him more, right? Mercenary. I'm looking at him. No?
No.
That's only because you are like that, right? But some guy...
Because I'm ethical.
You're ethical.
I have my ethics straight, and I want to have a long-lasting career, so I'm not going to do criminal activity.
Right, but somebody like you could just switch hats, right? I mean, you're an ethical hacker, thank goodness. You are hopefully not corruptible. You're a solid guy. But there's people out there who might and can use that information and do use that information for bad things, right?
Right, and those are criminals.
Those are criminals.
And that's the main difference between an ethical hacker and a cyber criminal, is one has permission to do what they do, like myself. I get permission in order to do my work. A cyber criminal does not.
And the work of an ethical hacker is to what? Expose flaws and...
Expose flaws, find vulnerabilities, essentially with permission.
Right, you're helping the guy out.
Right. So let's say this radio station, right? Let's say the radio station says, you know what, we want to make sure that nobody can get into our network, into our computers that run the studio. And if you gave me permission, then I would start the process of thinking like a malicious person, how could someone get in? And when that is found, then that would be brought up to the studio to say, look, a malicious person could use X, Y, and Z in order to get in. So let's talk about how we can fix that so they don't. Right. It's better that someone good finds it, because then we can fix it, rather than someone bad who then could do threats, who then could hold you ransom, and so on and so forth.
Now, you're doing this with permission because they've hired you. I mean, in this scenario, they've hired you, right? They've given you permission.
Right.
Does an ethical hacker, is it ethical to hack into this company's website for good intentions and then go back and say, hey, this is what I did last night?
If it's... Sometimes you find things accidentally. And again, as long as you can go to that organization and explain that, no, you weren't doing this with malicious intent, that you accidentally found this vulnerability, here it is, here's how I think I could fix it, or you guys can fix it. As long as you're going in with that ethical mindset,
that's a little weird, Jack, because if a bank robber says, hey, you know what, there's a bank over there, I'm going to find every flaw in that bank and get into there, and you're sitting there in the morning with all this cash and you call the bank and say, hey, dude, look what I just did. This is how I did it. They would still charge you with a crime.
So this would be my question. Do you remember back in the 90s when Johnny Cochran was leading the Rainbow Coalition? Are you familiar with this? So what he did is that he would go to a business and he would say, your business is not racially or ethnically or religiously diverse enough. Hire my company and we'll come in and we will diversify your HR department. We'll get you to hire more people. If the company said no, Johnny Cochran would then have one of the employees sue for racial discrimination. Now, as a hacker, as an ethical hacker, you have that same amount of power, right? I'm not saying that you would do this, man. You seem like a nice guy. But don't you think it's possible that if you're trying to exploit a weakness, now you're getting paid to do it, but don't you think that you could say, hey, man, your system is potentially vulnerable. Why don't you let me test it out, see where the holes are? And if they say, hey, no thanks, then you could potentially, now I'm giving you a business idea, but you could potentially go in and say, I don't know, put a thing in there, make it seem like it's been hacked, and then all of a sudden they're calling you being like, hey, man, Irvin, something bad happened. We need you back here.
To me, that's not ethical.
Right, that is unethical.
I would not do that.
Well, not you, but someone could potentially do that, right?
Right, but in my class, I would say that that's an unethical action.
How do you? Is there a way? Do you have a sense to sense this guy? This guy could turn to the dark side. This guy is
No.
That is a good question, Dave. Because I feel like I could sense if someone was on the good side or the bad side.
I don't know. I mean, and there's always a chance that he could come up on hard times in life and then say, "Hey, I can make money doing this."
Right. I don't think you can know a person that well
right.
Unless they're your spouse and you're really close to that person. I don't think a student in my class I could have the sense to say, oh, you're gonna do malicious, because you're right. You don't know their life situation now or later.
You don't look at the kid in the back of the class wearing all black and Ray-Bans with his finger gloves cut off and he's cracking his knuckles right before he starts typing. You don't look at him and be like, No,
I'm a teacher. I'm there to help them, to guide them in the right direction.
What does a cyber criminal look like anyways? Because they don't wear a mask or anything like that,
They look
right?
like you or me.
Yeah.
They don't look anything different.
Dave.
The difference about...
They look like Jack.
I know. The difference of being in online with technology is the person doesn't look any different. Whereas a bank robber does.
Mm-hmm.
Online, it doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. What you look like doesn't matter. It's what action you do that defines whether you're doing something ethical or not.
479-1080, let's head out to Hollister. George, thank you for your call. You're in the air.
Thank you. Excuse me. I wonder if your guest is aware of the Cube's operating system.
Repeat that again?
I wonder if your guest is aware of the Cube's operating system. It's spelled with a Q, Q-U-B-E-S-O-S.
I believe
Linux.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you might have some words of wisdom on it. It might be interesting to you, though.
Well, what do you know about it, George? What do you know about it? Why do you bring it up?
It's a Linux distribution designed to be secure by having a whole series of Zen sandboxes that some of the virtual machines can be relatively insecure, others very secure, and it manages it for you transparently. It's based on Fedora, and apparently, which is what I'm interested in, there are some ability to convert it to a Linux-based, a Debian-based operating system.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website as you're talking about it. Yeah, I do see that it uses the Zen project as a hypervisor. Uses Tor networking, runs on Fedora and Debian. Looks rather interesting. It kind of reminds me of Tails.
Well, I think it's more secure than Tails. The girl I say girl, I'm 70 years old. The woman who is involved with it she's a pretty good computer scientist. She thought she was involved with the red pill problem of 5 years ago or so, and I think it's a very I think it might be a very good. I want to talk to somebody who's had some experience with it, though, because it's not exactly easy to set up. So,
I don't know. You guys are speaking a foreign language to me. Thank you for your call, George. What is he talking about? I don't know what this is.
So this with Linux, because it's free, and the licensing, you can do anything and everything with it, and it's okay. You're not breaking any laws. And everybody can make their own flavor, what call flavors or distributions, their own version of. So you can make one. You can make one that's specifically for radio, and Jack can make one that's specific for
sports.
For sports,
working out.
Right. So this specific flavor or distribution focuses on having everything in little containers, if you will, so that if something malicious happens on one container, it doesn't affect the others, and the system itself is still reliant and up. I'm just reading into this introduction. It's actually pretty interesting.
All right, and that website that he just referred you to?
Yes, QUBES-OS.org.
Okay, now you told me one here that have I been pwned? Did we talk about that on the air?
We talked a little bit before we went off.
And if I go here, what am I going to find? Have I been pwned.com, and there's no O in that, by the way. It says have I been pwned.com. And it says, enter your email address to find out if you have been compromised in a data breach. I enter my email address, and it says, yes, I've been compromised 4 times. So I go there, I enter my email address, and it tells me when it happened and
what breach.
And what breach. Like this LinkedIn, in May 2016, LinkedIn had 164 million email addresses and passwords exposed.
That means yours was one of them.
And that means mine was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
HaveIBeenPwned.com. Again, it is October Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and that's why we're talking with Irvin Lemus, who is an instructor at Cabrillo College, cabrillo.edu. Let's head out to Aptos, pick up Flinks. You're in the air, Flinks.
Hey, I was calling about, I know this may not have anything to do with what he's talking about, but remember how Hillary Clinton supposedly erased all her emails and everything? Don't you think if she had stuff that was not secure, like if it was stuff that was like, what were they talking about? They were saying that she's breaking the law because she was, breaking security. But don't you think they would have enough evidence to show that? I mean, given our government and their capabilities to discover things? Or do you think she could have erased it and they don't have any evidence of her doing anything illegal?
Thank you for your call, Flinks. What do you think, Irvin?
I think that's very much up for debate. There's so much information and non-information about it. It's hard to really tell what really happened. Were things wiped? Were things not?
Let me ask you this. How do I make sure that my browsing history is not up there permanently? Here's a reason. I do a radio show, so I do a lot of research, right? So I type in things and look things up that would be questionable. Here's an example. Castor beans, right? There was some castor beans or whatever it is, castor's something, sent out, and ricin is derived from these beans, right? Or castor beans, I think they're called. I don't know. So I type that in, and I'm starting to type it in, and I think, you know what? I should probably type that in at work because I don't know that I want this stuff on my computer at home, right? So I'll go into work and type it in there. So if anybody says, hey, what are you looking up, Bryson? What are you typing all this stuff for? I don't want that stuff on my computer. How do I make sure that that is not on my computer?
That's a two-part question, or two-part answer, I mean.
Okay.
Your internet history is saved by the browser. And in Firefox, for example, there is a setting that you can that you tell it to never remember history. So it doesn't save where you've been. When you close out of the program, it erases that out.
Okay.
And then the other part is where your requests are going. So earlier when I was explaining a little bit on how the internet works, your request has to get translated by something called the domain name system. So from ksco.com to the IP address, there are certain systems like ISPs, internet service providers, who keep track of that. You can, in your router settings, change where you're getting your resolution to a site where they're not keeping track, like Cloudflare and Quad 9. If you can get into your router settings, there should be a setting for the acronym is DNS, but it's domain name system.
Okay.
The service in charge of translating. and you can change it to either 1.1.1.1 or 9.9.9.9. And those are two services that take your requests, translate them, but don't keep a record.
DuckDuckGo?
Yes, DuckDuckGo.
That's a good place to go to?
It's a good search engine, yes.
My friend, one of my co-hosts here, or one of my favorite guests, is always telling me to go to DuckDuckGo.com. I think that's a better browser, and it is.
Right, because it does the same thing of not keeping track.
Oh, okay. 479-1080, 218-5726, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Check it out. We're going to be right back. We're here with Irvin Lemus. If you want to check out more on him, go to cabrillo.edu. Cabrillo.edu. He is an instructor there.
Satisfy your hunger right now with the delicious ramen and sushi you'll find waiting for you at Kaito. A couple of minutes walk to the ocean at 830 41st Avenue in Pleasure Point. Special orders welcome. Fresh, delicious, and oh so good.
Hello, this is Koji. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Kaito.
This is KSCO, Santa Cruz, Monterey, Salinas.
Or 479-1080. You are listening to Flight 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KOMY LaSalle Beach, Watsonville 104.1, FM in Santa Cruz 107.9 in San Jose, 95.7 in Salinas, Watsonville, KSCO.com, broadcasting worldwide, CBSradio.com as well. It is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Be sure to check out cabrillo.edu. Find out how you can enroll in the ethical hacking. I cannot say that word, Irvin. You guys should change that name of that class. Can I put that suggestion in the suggestion box? Ethical hacking. That name is just so. It's hard to stay focused when you have that name, right? Because it's a. What does it mean? Ethical hacking. I mean,
it means someone who has an understanding of various networks and can find something wrong with them. And again, with the proper mindset, work with people to secure that.
Mm-hmm. Jack?
So can I read John McAfee's tweet?
Oh, yeah, you wanted to read that. Yeah, sure.
So he says this. He says the presidential alerts, they are capable of accessing the E911 chip in your phones, giving them full access to your location, microphone, camera, and every function of your phone. This is not a rant. This is from me, still one of the leading cybersecurity experts. Wake up, people. My question is that true? Can you remotely access someone's location, microphone, camera, and every function of their phone from the E911 chip?
I don't see why not.
John McAfee was right.
Yeah, it seems like you would be able to, right? Because in order for those things to work, they'd have to have access to those functions in your phone.
Yes. You have to have a way to connect to that phone and access that function in order to bring up like the alert and make the noise. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
the ethical hacking. Cabrillo Promise. What is the Cabrillo Promise?
Oh, the Cabrillo Promise.
Yes, what is this?
So let me read that for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Cabrillo Promise is for students who graduated from any high school in the county, the Cabrillo's service area. They get a free first-year tuition regardless of need. And this program is actually funded by the state.
Wait a minute. What did you say? A free what?
So they get a free, any student who graduated from high school in Cabrillo's service area gets a free first year of tuition regardless of need.
Wait. Free means that you don't have to pay for this class as long as you live in the Cabrillo service area.
Correct.
What is that? Santa Cruz County, or
I think it's Santa Cruz County.
Wow.
There's district lines, but anyway.
So even if you're stinking rich or dirt poor,
you as a high school student recently graduated, you can get your first year of community college for free, regardless of need.
A recent high school graduate.
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
My son just graduated.
Hey.
So what's the time limit? 6 months, a year, a semester? What? Do you know?
All the
details?
information is on the Cabrillo website.
Okay.
It should actually be right in the front where it says Cabrillo Promise.
Cabrillo.edu.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is, again, Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And
Yes,
we've
it
given
is.
out a few websites to help you keep track of things. It's just cool. Just cool. Check out Have I Been Pwned? Where did I write this stuff? HaveIBeenPwned.com and wiggle.net, and you can find out some interesting information there. Have I Been Pwned will tell you if your email has been hacked, right?
Your email has been hacked, or if a password you're using has been found in other breaches.
So you can enter your password there too?
Yeah, there's an option for passwords.
Wow, dude, I didn't see that. Is that safe to enter your
Yes.
password? Okay.
Yeah. So what this website does is it doesn't look at your password in human readable, or as we say, in clear text form. It actually turns it into something that's unreadable, that the system will not be able to identify. But it goes through and basically does a matching. Does this match this piece of this password? Does it match something else that I found? And if so, then it tells you, hey, this has been used X amount of times.
That's HaveIBeenPwned.com. Again, no E. It bugs the heck out of me, but that's the way it is. And wiggle.net with only one G. Again, bugs the heck out of me. Who makes it? Don't they know how to spell? Don't these guys know how to spell? Wiggle. WIGLE.net. And you can find out if anybody has identified your wireless system.
Yes, your access point.
Your access point. And that is your router, right?
It normally is, yes. For home systems, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another website you wanted to talk about was
the
Sans Ouch.
Yes.
What is it?
So-
Sans SANS.
Yes.
Ouch.com.
No. If you go on any search engine and you type Sans Ouch, you'll get to that specific website. It's
Is it one word, 2 words?
Two words.
Okay.
Sans Ouch. It's a great newsletter that is built for everybody. It's translated in multiple languages so that it's accessible to everyone. It covers basic cybersecurity topics that apply to every single one of us. For example, this month's is email oops and how to avoid them.
Okay.
So the overview, email is one of the primary ways we communicate, both in our personal and professional lives. However, we can often be our own worst enemy when using it. Here are 4 most common mistakes people make with email and how to avoid them.
Okay.
The first one is autocomplete.
How is that a mistake to you? Why is it a mistake to use that?
Yeah, so autocomplete is a common feature in most email clients. As you type in the name of a person you want to email, your email software automatically selects their email address for you.
Okay.
In this way, you don't have to remember it. The system does. But the problem is if you have multiple contacts with the same name, you might select the wrong one. So you might accidentally send sensitive information to the wrong person.
So that's something you have to be careful of
Yes.
because you could, like you said, send it to the wrong person, right? You could send something a steamy hot email to your boss, and that would be a bad, well, maybe that, to somebody that you don't want it to go to, right?
Or
your
if
grandma.
Or if you're, let's say, in accounting and you need to send sensitive information like payroll out to another department, and you accidentally type the wrong person, that information is sensitive and essential to the company, and now that's out into the wrong hands.
These are 4 things we're talking about when you're using your email to watch out for these, right? So be careful when you're using the autocomplete.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So our second one is reply all.
And what's the big deal about that?
So in addition to the to field, when you create an email, you also have the CC, the carbon copy option, which allows you to copy additional people in your email and keep them informed. When someone else sends you an email and has CC'd people on it, you have to decide if you want to respond to just the sender or to everyone.
Okay.
And again, if your reply is sensitive, you want to make sure that you're sending it to the person you're sending and not to all.
And so what's the best way to do that? Just close that email and start a new one?
No. There is an option. Like in Gmail, for example, it has 1 arrow and then it has 2 arrows for reply all.
Okay.
So again, you have to be conscious of what you're doing. You're not just typing away. You always double check.
Okay.
Make sure that who you're sending to is right.
Okay.
And if you're responding in a longer email chain that's hitting more people, make sure you're responding to the right person.
Okay, so that's 2. We got 2 things here. Autocomplete and reply all. Be careful when using those. Okay, number 3.
Is emotion. Never send an email when you are emotionally upset. The email could harm you in the future, perhaps even costing you a friendship or a job. Instead, take a moment and calmly organize your thoughts. If you need to vent your frustration, open up a new email, make sure there's no name in it, and type exactly what you feel like saying, kind of like when my parents would tell me, if write it down, but don't send it.
Yeah, right.
Similar. Get up, take a walk with your computer, perhaps get a cup of coffee, go for a walk. When you come back, delete the message, start over again, or pick up the phone and talk to the person, speak face to face if possible. Because through email, it is difficult for people to determine your tone and your intent.
Well, not if you add a lot of exclamation marks, which I'll send one out to my son, Mikey, and say, take out the trash! Exclamation mark. That's the fun. That's you. Okay, so don't do that then. Okay, number 4.
And the last one is privacy.
Okay.
Finally, email has few privacy protections. Your email can be read by anyone who gains access to it, similar to a postcard when sent in the mail. Your email can easily be forwarded to others, posted on public forums, released due to court order, or distributed after a server was hacked. If you have something truly private to say to someone, pick up the phone and call them. It is also important to remember that in many countries, email can be used as evidence in a court of law. Finally, if you're using your work computer for sending email, remember that your employer may have the right to monitor or read your email when using work resources.
That one's kind of common sense to me, right? I mean, if there's anything that you're doing that you don't want anybody to know about, do not send email. Just don't do it, right?
Common knowledge isn't always common.
Right.
And that's why we educate users all the time with what seems like common knowledge or basic knowledge. We do this all the time.
Right, and that is why you guys teach IT essentials, right? That's
IT essentials, networking, fundamentals of computer security, virtualization. We have all these various classes.
And these are all separate classes
Yes.
from the ethical hacking?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
They all can be, do you teach all of these?
I teach mostly the cybersecurity courses.
Mm-hmm.
So like the fundamental of computer security, computer forensics, and ethical hacking. My colleagues like Marcelo Noguera teaches the IT essentials. He does a great job with that class. Rick Graziani teaches the networking classes. Rich Sims teaches the Linux classes. Mike Matera, our department chair, teaches Python. So we work together in covering various areas in our expertises.
479-1080-218-5726. Anything else we want to talk about? We've got about 5 minutes before we go to the bottom.
Got 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What do you feel about the New Zealand law where, as a foreigner, you have to hand over your phone password at the border or face a $3,200 US dollar fine?
That is... And wait a minute. So in New Zealand, if you're crossing the border, you have to surrender the password to your phone? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the law, it's
what's the thinking behind that? Because that sounds like too much, but there has to be thinking behind that. What is the thinking behind that?
Officials can see under the Customs and Excise Act 2018, which came into force this week. Officials will be able to demand travelers to unlock any electronic device so it can be searched. Anyone who refuses can face prosecution or that fine. Officials can also retain the devices and potentially confiscate them from travelers who refuse to allow search at the border.
I'll tell you what I think right after Jack tells you what he thinks. Jack, what do you think about that? I'm gonna figure out what I think here.
I mean, I think it's just an issue with government in general and infringing on individual rights yet again. To me, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and it gives me another reason not to go to New Zealand.
I'm sure it's being sold as an anti-terrorism countermeasure, or do they deal with terrorism in New Zealand? I don't know.
I'm sure they do. I mean, I'm sure that's everywhere.
You know, if I was in law enforcement, I would be all down for that, but I'm not, so I don't know what to think about. You know, you brought up something that you asked me a weird question. Weird question.
Did I?
And that was, do I think that what'd you call it? Biometrics is at the end. Do I think that this case that you mentioned?
So that's a separate case.
Yeah, that's a separate case, but it kind of ties into this too, right? Because in that case, the biometrics would allow the police to say, hey, you know what? You don't want to tell us your password? Fine. We're going to go scan your eyes, your retinas, or do a face scan or do a thumbprint, and we're going to get that information anyways.
Do we have time for me to talk about the article, or do you want to talk about this?
Let's tease the article. Yeah, we got 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and tease that, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
So the article comes from Forbes regarding a child abuse investigation.
Okay.
And they used Apple Face ID to unlock the phone.
The police did?
Yes.
Against the guy's will. I mean, because they can do it against the guy's will, right? They don't need you. I mean, can I go make this face? And the facial ID won't recognize that, maybe?
It won't recognize it, no. It recognizes the face that you set.
Okay. So it wouldn't recognize me if I was making a sour face or anything like that, right?
It wouldn't allow it.
Okay.
Or a picture. A picture of your face. It doesn't allow it. It understands.
A thumbprint, though, would work.
Yes.
Whether you're angry or whatever, that would work, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also biometrics?
Yes, that's biometrics. Biometrics is anything that we are...
Okay, because up to now, I've believed that biometrics is the wave of the future, right? This is the way things are going to be done. Facial recognition, iris scans.
It's one of. Biometrics is one of.
One of? What do you mean one of?
That's part of the two-factor authentication, and it's one of the things that you can do to establish two-factor authentication.
479-1080, 218-5726, DM at ksco.com. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. We are here with Irvin Lemus. And again, he's here because it is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. That's what we're talking about here. We've given you a few websites if you want to check out information, mainly to find out if your information has been compromised. One of those would be haveibeenpwned.com, the other wiggle.net. Check those out. And again, listen to this podcast if you want to find out more about how you can stay safe. What are the tips? Do we have another tip to throw out there for them for Cybersecurity Awareness Month?
Turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on your cell phone when you leave your home.
You were saying that too when you had this display at the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds, where you actually tried to hack into people's phones as they were walking by, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that's why they should turn them off, because
a malicious person can lure your phone to connect to them, and then from there, I can get information out of your phone.
Do I have to follow you around? I mean, there's obviously in certain range, right?
Well, yeah, it's within certain range.
Okay. What is that again? Turn off your Wi-Fi when you're not...
And your Bluetooth.
When you're not at home?
Yes.
Even your Bluetooth?
Uh-huh.
Okay. 479-1080. It is 6:30. We're going to go to the headlines. David Corsi is standing by with those. Remember to check out ksco.com.
If someone should ask, tell them you heard it on AM 1080 KSCO.
You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. We're here with Irvin Lemus. If you want to join us, you can do that either by driving into down to the studio and joining us, but we won't let you in because we have a high-tech security system built to keep people out. Probably your best bet, text messages, emails, phone calls, 831-479-1080. Snail mail won't make it here in time because we're only going to be here for another 20 minutes. We're at 2300 Portola Drive, though, if you want to try it. Okay, Irvin, we are talking, you want to talk about competition, right? Yeah. That's one of the things you wanted to mention. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, what?
So earlier I mentioned about how we have a high-tech apprenticeship program to help students get the work experience, get their first job.
Right.
We also compete. So my students are involved in a number of competitions where they go against other teams and test their knowledge in many scenarios.
What does a test look like? What does it comprise of? How do you do this?
For example, one of the competitions that we participate in is called the National Cyber League.
Okay.
This is one of many capture the flags. These types of games have have questions, have puzzles. Students will be presented with a question, and they will do research. They'll work together. They'll find what the answer is to that puzzle, and that may take knowledge that they know or knowledge that they don't know. It'll take some researching or trial and error to find what that answer is, and they capture the flag. They got the answer. They move on to another question and move on, and the topics that they get range wildly, from encryption to cryptography, reverse engineering, binary exploitation. I mean, it gives them a nice wide range of different topics to try their hands at. One of the great things about the National Cyber League is that it actually gives them a results page and tells them, you were really good at cryptography. You were really good at web application exploitation. And this is the stuff that they can add to the resume. Because this is, again, testing their knowledge, testing their creativity, preparing them for the real world. There's also the Western Regional Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. This is a competition where the students, as a team, protect virtual machines, protect computers against an active hacking group. So it's a number of colleges, 4-year and 2-year colleges that participate. And they'll get a scenario of a number of machines that are misconfigured or outdated or set up to look like a regular business. And there's a team who's called the Red Team, and their job is to get into the machines. And our students, the Blue Team, their job is to not only keep the Red Team out, but also respond to the White Team, which is their supervisor. Like if it's the CEO, the CFO, they'll send requests to the team. So the group of students have to work together to not only keep the bad guys out, but also respond to their boss in a professional and timely manner. Again, building that experience, building that preparation for the real world.
Do you ever get the feeling that you're training cyber warriors?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That could be one way to put it.
If you're on the defense and someone's trying to attack you, you stop them. Is it fair to put something in there?
No. That's attacking back.
Right. No, not in your classes, but out there
in the real world.
In the real world, there probably are people out there who are
every day, all day. There are people who are trying to get into services, that are trying to get into websites, who are trying to steal information, do identity theft. You name it. You name the gamut.
So if I stop a Chinese company from getting into my system, is it fair game for me to put something in theirs? To send something back, to volley a weapon back towards them?
It could be, but what we lean more towards is, if an attack comes in, we're gonna stop it. We're gonna backtrack. We're gonna spend our time actually figuring out how did they get in, and protect ourselves so that it doesn't happen again. And that's gonna take a lot of time and energy. So retaliation is really
another team.
Yeah,
probably.
That's just another team. It's gonna be enough just to be able to work together and resolve and protect ourselves again.
479-1080-218-5726. Okay, so we got that. We talked about the competition. What else do we want to say about the competition?
There's 3 competitions that my student assistant team actually create from the ground up.
Okay.
We work with.
This sounds like fun, by the way.
Yes.
This is not part of the same course, is it?
No.
Okay.
No. So participating in competitions is part of the course. Making competitions is part of that work experience, part of that apprenticeship program. So we have a competition. We do a Cyber Cup in the winter around December, and then we do a regional competition in around March. And then we also have another competition that really deals with just teaching middle school and high school students how to take computers apart and put them back together again. In the first 2, my students build the entire competition infrastructure from the ground up. They think of the scenario. They think of how they want the competitors to go through it. So they have to use their knowledge from the classes and apply it to the scenario that they're working with together, because no student works alone. So their knowledge of operating systems, their knowledge of networking, their knowledge of hacking, how will a student get from point A to point B? They have to work together to figure that out. And let me tell you that is awesome to see. When we have our meetings and I tell them, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is my vision for it. Now let's work together and create it.
I think I see a problem here. And it's not a problem of the course, but it's just a problem in general with the way this situation has to work out. And it has to work out this way, I guess. For your students to build the scenario to be tested, they have to, like you said, they're going to figure out how they want to steer this guy towards solving the problem. What they've done is they've created a problem, right? This is a human-created problem. It can be solved. Are we ever going to get to a point where the bad program writers, the bad hackers, the bad, I don't know, are going to be automated and there is no rhyme or reason behind how to undo it? So you see, if I'm building this ball of yarn or I'm building this maze, there's a way through it because I built it, right? I know there's a way through it. But now if you have a computer doing it, who the hell knows if there even is a way out of this?
There are some challenges that are built by machines. So they're given a general same thing. They're given a general overview, and through coding, through machine learning, through AI, they build a scenario, and a human works out to solve the problems. Yeah.
Is there a danger that they will become unsolvable as those programs are created by computers and not humans? Or is everything created by human?
Not necessarily. We automate a lot. We updates. They're normally automated.
But those updates are created by humans, right? Or are they just created by the computers?
It could be both. It could be both. Using machine learning with finding vulnerabilities that are found by humans, put them together, just to find patches that work. Because some patches don't work. You install some Windows updates and they'll break something instead of fix something, and then another patch has to be released. I don't see why machine learning wouldn't be used in order to lessen that damage.
Or to make it worse.
Right.
479-1080. All right, Irvin, anything else we want to bring up before? We only got 15 minutes, dude. And that's not much time.
Yeah, well, we can talk about a few articles.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
Just to end the day.
How about robocalls?
Oh, the robocall, yes.
So let me tell everybody this morning, Jack, I don't know if this happens to you. You're about the age. I get these phone calls from somebody who they claim to be a student loan. Somebody's trying to sell me a student loan or trying to interest me. It's a robocall. So this morning she goes, "Hi, this is Janet, and this is the last time we're going to try to get a hold of you. If you want to take advantage of this, or if you don't want to get in trouble for not paying your loan or whatever it was, hang on the line and press 5." David Corsi told me, you know what? Stop hanging up on those guys. At the end of the call, they might give you an option to opt out of these calls. So I did that. She said, push 5 if you want to talk to somebody. He got on the air. He got on the line, and I told him what he could go do something to himself, which I don't even know if physically can be done. It'd be interesting to see him try it, though. And so I told him to go do this to himself, and it just felt great. It felt great because ordinarily it's a computer robot doing this. But this time there was a human there, and he was from a different country. I could tell by his accent, which I guess is par for the course. Do you ever get those calls, Jack?
I get them probably 5 or 6 times a day.
Yes, right? 5 or 6 times a day. And then they're disguised as a local number. So if you call that number back and say, "Hey, stop calling me, you dirty so-and-so," they're going to be like, "What are you talking about, man? I'm just sitting here eating popcorn. I haven't called anybody." So they use somebody else's phone number I don't know how that happens, but you get those too.
I get them all the time, man, and I think that it's kind of indicative of the culture. I suppose we live in the United States right now, where everything is for sale, including your own phone number. So if you put your phone number into a website, someone buys that metadata, then they go out and they sell it to a robocall company, and they call you with this scam.
If I go to haveibeenpwned.com and it shows you if your information has been compromised, has it been compromised to people like those robocallers?
It might. No, it only shows breaches where breaches happen. It doesn't
show that somebody got the information.
Right. So regarding your earlier thing about robocalls.
Yeah, robocalls.
Our governor signed a law that effective July 1st, the robocalls have to identify themselves as that.
The upcoming July 1st.
Right. Upcoming July 1st.
So instead of saying, "Hey, I'm Janet. I'm a hot chick trying to get you to," she has to say,
it will have to.
"I am a robot."
Right.
I am
They have
trying
to identify itself.
Okay.
So something like Google's Duplex. I don't know if you saw that when Google announced it during their conference.
I think I did.
It did spark some conversation.
Yes.
Where it didn't. It works so flawlessly. It almost sounds.
It even
100%.
says and inserts pauses to sound more human.
So it's now law that something like Google Duplex, if launched, has to identify itself. It has to identify itself that it is a robocall and then proceed.
Wow. 479-1080, 218-5726, DM at ksco.com. Let's take a phone call. Paul is calling from Watsonville. You're in the air.
Yeah, I had another question. They have you were talking about turning your Wi-Fi off and all this stuff on your cell phone. They had a show called Person of Interest, and one of the things they would do is get up next to somebody and somehow sync into their phone such that when they got a call, it rang to their line. Is that TV makeup, or is that real stuff that can be done?
It can be done. I mean, as long as you have the right hardware and the right software, you can... just like I have a tool that can mimic any access point, any Wi-Fi access point that I choose, and like I can mimic it to be Starbucks. And if your cell phone connected to Starbucks before, it'll connect to me automatically.
Wow!
We were showcasing this tool at the Santa Cruz County Fair. If you have the equivalent tool for 3G, 4G technology, you could in theory do the same thing.
Wow.
Jeez, I know, right?
Have a good one.
Thank you for the call, Paul. 479-1080-218-5726. It's like the more you learn that you should be scared of things, right?
I wouldn't say scared. I'd say educated.
Educated. It's a double edge, right?
Yeah.
So the more you become educated, the more you learn that there's good things and there's also potential bad things.
But again, we teach towards the good. We teach towards being ethical.
But you also have to teach... to some extent, the bad, because you have to be prepared for it.
Right.
You have to know what to look for. What does it look like, anyways? What am I looking out for if I'm just an average Joe? What does a bad website look? What does it look like? How do I know I'm about to be tricked or taken advantage of on the internet?
For example, don't click on a link you're not sure of.
How about the little green lock on the?
That is not always. That's not reliable. It used to be. It actually used to be, because only companies that had the money for it could buy the certificate, and that's what the green lock signified is. They have the proof, like an ID card. I am who I am. You're connecting to the right place. But then we came up with Let's Encrypt, which allows anybody to create a certificate, because why not let more people, when they make their website, be able to make sure that their communication is also secure. Well, that also opened the door for the bad guys to do it too.
Yeah. What do I do if I've been hacked? Here's something that happened to me, Jack. I'm sitting here at work. This is Mikey he's 19 now. He's going to be 19 tomorrow, so happy birthday, Mikey. He was a little kid going to Bradley School, so he's in elementary school, maybe 9, 10 years old. I get a call here at the station, and he's freaking out, dude. He is freaking out, and he's going, Dad, I don't know what to do. The FBI sent me an email, or the FBI has a computer, and they say they're not going to do, I'm in trouble, and I got to pay them, and this and that, and he's crying, dude. And I told him, because it had happened to me maybe a couple months before, and I just turned the computer off. I go, dude, don't touch anything. Turn the computer off. Don't touch anything. When I get home, we'll figure it out. So I went there and had to do a safety start, or what is that called? A safe start? Put it in safe mode, right?
Yes.
Safe mode. And that allows you...
Safe mode only loads the essential components to run the operating system.
Has that ever happened to you, Jack? Have you ever run into anything like that, or any of your friends? I suspect that Mikey was looking at girly websites or something, right?
Right.
Or not.
Maybe not. No, I don't know.
I've never had a virus. I've never had my identity stolen.
Are you sure of that?
We're talking about computers or me personally with the virus?
The computer.
Computer, I'm
computer.
sure I've had a virus. There was a third part to that joke, but you can't.
I know.
But so a computer, I've never had any issues as far as, the IRS or the FBI or whatever. I do get weird phone calls from someone saying that this is the IRS's last attempt at getting a hold of me before a warrant has been issued for my arrest, and they're coming for me and all this other stuff. But other than that, man, I think what's really going on, man, is there's a bunch of Nigerians who figured out that the Prince Nigeria scam wasn't working anymore. So what they decided to do is they said, well, let's get someone to read this script to make them think that the IRS is coming after them.
Yeah, whoever reads those scripts, damn them to heck.
That's what I'm saying.
Because they speak perfect English.
Perfect English. They speak it fluently.
They sound professional.
They sound professional. It actually sounds like the IRS.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's tons of people that have fallen for it. But do you remember those old emails, those emails that they'd get? Right. The Nigerian prince.
I won the lottery.
I have $25 million and I need to deposit 13 of it right now, and I've chosen you.
Right. So Irvin, Jack says his computer has never been exposed to a virus, never caught one. How sure can he or we, anybody, how sure can we be that that's the case? I mean, are all viruses like, hey, here I am, you loser? No. Or are some of them just running in the background, you'll never?
Yes.
So a lot of them are like System 32, Trojan horses that just attach themselves.
System 32, what is that? I've seen that. What is that?
So that's specifically Windows. When Windows was created, it was built for 32-bit systems, which can handle 32 bits of information at a time. That's what that means. As it has progressed into 64-bit, it's still there because Windows has a lot of backwards compatibility. So you can run older programs in the newer versions, and that's why that exists. But to your point about the robocalls, it could be a machine that created that recording. It could also be your neighbor who's running it.
It could be a machine now, right? With that Google duplex, like you said? Yeah, they speak so perfectly. It could be a machine. Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be outside of the country. It could be your neighbor.
My neighbor is a little 90-year-old lady, and I'm going to go confront her tonight because she's been robocalling me for 2 years.
I think I got my money on you, Jack. I think you can take her on.
I'm going to call her out. I'm going to stand in front of her house.
So Google Duplex will do something. So this, if you go online, Google has this voice to text translator, and this is how it sounds right now. Okay.
You're listening to Flight 1080. Call us at 831-479-1080. Text 831-218-5726. Email daviddm@ksco.com. Now back to the show. KSCO Santa Cruz.
That's a computer, right? But that sounds, you can still hear the pauses. It still sounds very computer, but I mean, it's 80% there.
Right, it's getting there. And all it has to be is believable.
Yeah. Or believable to somebody, even if somebody with bad hearing or not so.
It has to be believable to someone, and that's the whole point of a phishing scam, which is what we're talking about.
479-1080. 4 minutes left, Irvin. What are we going to do? What do you want to do?
Well, another bill that passed in our California legislature is that all Internet of Things devices or IoT devices will have to have some form of security integrated into them, which is great.
Yes.
Because a lot of devices that are coming out, again, are built with convenience and not security. So like the smart thermostats and similar products like that, cameras, which are great, and they serve that purpose, but they're not built with the right security measures.
Right. Someone's been turning on and off my cable box and my Xbox One. I think it's somebody messing around with some control somewhere because they always turn off and on.
You might want to change your passwords to start.
Really?
Yeah, I would start there.
I don't want to change my password, Irvin. I mean, I have had the same one ever since I was born.
Yeah, you need to.
How bad?
Pretty bad.
How regularly?
I would say 6 months.
So can I train? Can I? Should I change it totally? Can I go from Dragon Slayer 420 to Slayer Dragon 420 to 420 Dragon?
No, use a password manager like LastPass, Dashlane, 1Password.
Dashlane, really?
Yes.
I've always looked at that and said, "Yeah, right, dude. I'm not going to try." No,
they generate completely random passwords.
Really?
Yes, that are much harder to figure out.
So Dashlane, how does this work? I go to Dashlane, then go to the website, type my password in and Dashlane.
You create an account.
Okay.
You're right. You create an account on the system, and then you can add websites, and you can put in your credentials. Then they can generate credentials for you.
So then I go to Dashlane, and then from there they go to the website.
Right. And there's many other password managers, but the basic point of stop remembering so many passwords because that is insecure. Use a password manager.
Wow, dude!
And that's right now.
I would never trust that until
this is broken. Until this is broken and two-factor authentication, then we'll come up with a new way. I mean, this is cybersecurity. It's always cat and mouse. It's always one-upping each other, and this is what I like to do because 2 days are never the same.
It never stops. I was asking, or maybe reading a book. You should check out. I think you would like. The economic singularity, the how AI will affect the world economy or something like this. It's by a guy named Callum Chase. And his outtake on this is, he addresses when is the golden age, because I like to think that we're in the golden age. And I even asked him, I interviewed him, I spoke with him. I said, when is the golden age? And he said, well, it has been and is and will be. What the hell? Who am I talking to, Yoda? And he says, it's always changing, right? Like you just said, you're always on the cutting edge. It's always changing. The golden age is here. It's always been here, and it always will be because we're never going to reach that next thing. We're always working towards it. So we are always constantly in the golden age of technology. And I thought that was a great answer, dude. Fantastic. I agree with you. This is a fun topic, man. I totally agree. We can do this again?
Sure.
All right, we'll do it again. I'll send you an email, and we'll get you in here in the studio again. I want to thank you again. If you want to find out more, cabrillo.edu. Irvin Lemus,